Welcome back to Mind Peace Stories. Take a breath. Now step outside into a world where we have access to infinite information, yet suffer from an unprecedented lack of psychological peace. Think of a child's mind as perfectly clear water. Unfiltered modern media acts as a highly concentrated contaminant. When information arrives without wisdom, it functions as a pollutant. Once toxic inputs compromise a young mind, the effort to purify that water can consume a lifetime of struggle. 2,000 years ago, a poor widow named Mengmu understood this reality. At first, she and her young son lived near a graveyard. Almost immediately, the boy began mimicking the professional mourners, performing funeral rituals as a game. Hoping for a better influence, they moved near a busy marketplace, but there he simply learned to copy the merchants, practicing how to haggle and deceive customers for a few extra coins. Mengmu watched her son's behavior shift with the wind. She saw that these environments were actively destroying his potential, filling his mind with deceit and superficial profit. Knowing she had to protect his focus, she made a decisive third move, this time settling right next to a school led by wise scholars. The change was immediate. Surrounded by students who valued courtesy and rigorous study, young Mencius began to mirror their deep focus and respectful bowing. Without being forced or punished, he absorbed the virtues of his environment, setting him on a path to become one of history's greatest philosophers. Greatness does not happen by accident. It is the direct karmic consequence of fiercely protecting a child's environment. If you allow the graveyards and marketplaces of the modern digital world into their bedrooms, their minds will inevitably reflect that chaos. Today, we try to solve that chaos with psychology hacks. If a child is lazy or brings home poor grades, parents are told to offer financial rewards, paying them a few dollars to sweep the floor or promising a new gadget for a good report card. This chart shows exactly what happens as the child grows. The price for their cooperation inevitably inflates, and their willingness to contribute for free vanishes completely. Eventually, the day arrives when a mother asks her teenager for a simple favor, and the child refuses because the parent can no longer afford their inflated rate. The child stops viewing the home as a shared responsibility. Monetizing household duty destroys the sacred bond of the family. By replacing unconditional duty with a transactional, ego-driven profit motive, parents unknowingly train their children to care only for themselves. To see the mathematical certainty of where this transactional mindset leads, we can look at the historical encounter between the sage Mencius and King Hui of Liang. The king greeted the philosopher eagerly, asking what strategies he brought to secure great material profit for the kingdom. Mencius offered a stern rebuke, warning against structuring a society around personal gain. If the king seeks profit, nobles will profit their own families, and commoners will profit themselves. When everyone is driven by utility, they stop being a community and become rivals. The same logic applies to a household. If a child's cooperation is bought with bribes, their loyalty shifts toward the reward rather than the parent. When the profit dries up, the primary motive for connection disappears, often leaving the parents isolated in their later years. So if we cannot rely on money to motivate our families, what do we use? Let us step away from the chaos of modern desire and look to the ancient, unshakable peace of Emperor Shun. Born into a deeply abusive family, Shun faced extreme cruelty and even multiple assassination attempts plotted by his own father and half-brother. Any ordinary person would seek revenge or escape, but Shun responded by leaning entirely into pure, unselfish devotion and filial piety. He never complained or demanded fair treatment. He simply continued to serve them with absolute sincerity. Over time, this relentless, unconditional virtue acted as an undeniable force of nature. It broke through their hostility, eventually awakening a conscience in his family that replaced their violence with a quiet, mutual respect. We severely underestimate the influence of our own character. True, unwavering virtue is the only force capable of turning external hatred and chaos into profound internal peace. This diagram shows a foundational spiritual law, the chain of destiny. It begins with an invisible thought, which compounds into physical actions, forming our habits. Those habits cement into an unbreakable character. Ultimately, that character dictates the entire trajectory of a person's destiny. You can begin cultivating this field of blessings in your children today. Demand their respect, refuse to bribe them, and consistently model benevolence. A righteous character is the ultimate inheritance. It provides the steady inner peace needed to navigate a dark world, far outlasting any accumulation of wealth or technology.